Fujifilm call this lens the new standard. I'm not sure I'm ready to get rid of my XF 18-55 yet, but we need to look at this properly, and what better way to do it than on my travels, which are coming up in just a few days. But first, we're just testing the video autofocus. You know, we like to do it from the get-go. How is it faring? I think it's just about caught my hand back to my face yet. Let's jump out of the way. Maybe you can see if there's any focus breathing. You know the routine by now. We like to test these things out in real situations with no faffing about. How is that? I think it's all right. Anyway, we're going to look at it up close in the studio, and then I'm going to get out and have a play. Now, I'm not sure exactly which countries I'll get to. I know the final destination, but there's a little problem with the connections, so we'll see where we end up using this thing, but we're going to give it a good thorough play. Of course, as you can read on the T50, the beautiful T50 that frankly I might end up buying, but I probably already said that in the T50 video. I might have even decided by then, because I haven't recorded the summary for that, because that's also coming with me. Anyway, enough waffle, let's crack on. Well, there she is then. Feels like your typical Fujifilm XF lens. Aperture ring's a tad loose. Switches are nice. Yeah, let's just take off the hood. We've got a 58mm protector on there, so 58mm. 9 diaphragm blades, 11 elements in 9 groups. The aperture ring, 2.8 at the widest, but it soon starts to shift down, and at the tele end 4.8 is the start, and both finish at f22. Of course, we've got a linear style focusing motor in here. We've got weather resistance, closest focusing distance 24 centimeters. It's not written on the front, but I already know. And at the tele end, a 0.3 times maximum magnification. Focal length in full frame terms 24 to 76 mil equivalent. Angle of view 83.2 to 31.7. I got that bit the wrong way around, but yeah, there you go. I mean, it's fine. Let's put it back on the camera so you can see how it is. Honestly, the camera, the beautiful T50, is a lot smaller than the lens. Let me just check something. Well, you know, there's not much in it, but it feels fine. It fits and feels fine. It feels a little bit bigger than the camera, as I said, but otherwise, yeah, that is all we need to say. After some use and abuse, I'll talk about how I feel about it after some use. I mean, that manual focus ring, not an afterthought, but there's not a lot in it, but that doesn't matter. I like how that is all internal. That is beautiful. Yeah, interesting. Not sure if this is one for me, but it better be good fun on my travels. Oh, and it weighs 240 grams. So with this, which was what, 438, 678 grams, 678 grams. My maths is terrible. Have I got that right? 438 plus 240. 6, 4. What did I say? I've forgotten now. 678, 438. 2, yeah, it's not a lot, is it? Pretty light. Yeah, what do you reckon? How's it looking? We used this lens extensively, taking it to Germany, Argentina, Paraguay, Brazil briefly, Switzerland, and of course here in England. And the lens didn't give me any trouble when it comes to build quality and handling. It definitely feels like an XF lens and is very easy to work with. Internal zoom is very welcome, especially if you use a gimbal, which actually will be featuring one very soon. And the aperture ring, it's just right. It's also lighter than my 18-55, which is also welcome when I'm traveling. Autofocus on the T50, very good. The lack of OIS, not an issue in this case, thanks to the IBIS of the T50. Weather sealing, very welcome, but I didn't really have to put that to too much test. Maybe a little dust and heat, but that was about it. Sharpness is where this lens really makes its mark in the new world of 40 megapixel sensors, and wide open at 16 in the centers, it's close to excellent, and at the edges, very good. By 50mm, sharpness has dropped slightly, but it's still very good, again, on the new sensor. Now, color rendering, excellent. Contrast, overall, very good. The lens performs as you'd hope with a brand new Fujifilm camera. Chromatic aberration is well controlled. Sun stars, pretty good, around 5-6. There is some barrel distortion at the wide end and inward pincushion at the long, but both fix effortlessly in post. Vignetting is minimal wide open at the widest aperture. Ghosting present, flaring minimal. Now, bokeh isn't the strongest feature with this lens, and honestly, I didn't expect it to be. It's still workable in the right situations. Just remember, you'll lose f2.8 pretty much as soon as you leave 16mm. And of course, by 50, you're at 4.8, which isn't the best for bokeh, but using the right compression and the right background, you can achieve some pleasing out of focus areas. I think jet lag is starting to set in again. Anyway, close-up details, out of focus areas, in that case, a pro for this lens over other options out there. When it comes to IQ, the lens is an improvement when using the 40 megapixel sensor, but if you're on an older sensor, there's a lot less to get excited about, especially as the XF 18-55 is a tad brighter to start with and has OIS jet lag. If you don't get this as part of a kit, such as with the T50, your local store will relieve you of £699, so should you let them swap your hard-earned wedge for a simple-ish kit lens? Again, if you're using the latest 40 megapixel sensor, probably yes, if you can get it at a discount, or are simply happy to splash the cash. If you don't have the 40 megapixel sensor, or if you need OIS that this doesn't have, the XF 18-55 is still an excellent choice. Ultimately, after 6 countries worth of testing, I wasn't that inspired by this new lens, but it's still more than capable in general situations and got me a lot of great memories, most of which I can't post. Yeah, then there's the Sigma 18-55 that comes up a lot in this conversation. This lens from Fujifilm beats it for macro shots. It's got that extra few mil, it's got weather resistance, overall better IQ, but if that aperture is more inspiring to you, then go for the Sigma. A lower budget lens to consider is the XC 16-50, but I imagine this new one is the best kit lens from Fujifilm to fully resolve the 40 megapixel, but it's 2024 and kit lenses really should be getting faster, not slower. What do you think? Let us know in the comments and take it easy.